Cronulla in equal 5th place are looking to secure their spot in the top 5 and then aim for a spot in the top 3. While North's equal 8th on the ladder, they know a win today could carry them into the 5 this weekend, but a loss will make their chances of reaching the semi-finals that much tougher. Norths have a solid lineup in today with Greg Florimo at 5'8", but Cronulla are still without their general Gavin Miller, but they have pace to burn in the back line. Joining me as usual, Arthur Beetson and Johnny Peard. And we have a strong wind blowing here at North Sydney, down the ground, and that's going to make the job of the kickers very important. Here come the North Sydney Bears. Gavin Jones, back in first grade today. He'll be very pleased to see his name in the top 13. And the lineup, John MacArthur comes in for Conlon at fullback. Kiss, Steve McGowan, the Englishman in the centres. Egan, Hall, Florimo and Martin. It's David Hall, the winger, number 5. Billy Moore is the lock forward, wearing 12. Gavin Jones in the second row. Larson, the front row, Toole, McPhail and Jarvis. The coach is Steve Martin. And the Sharks emerging from the dressing rooms, which are underneath the grandstand here at North Sydney. Barry Russell playing at 5'8" today. So the lineup, Docking at fullback, Corkery, Eddinghausen, McGaw and Davidson. Russell 5'8", Spina is the halfback. And the forward lineup without Gavin Miller, Hatch at lock, Alan Wilson in the second row with Craig Diamond, Staines, Massey and Lee. The coach is Alan Fitzgibbon. Jason Martin playing at halfback today with Mark Soden on the bench. The referee is Tony Kelly. Everything in readiness. Cronulla running with the breeze. North Sydney will attack into it, and Laurie Spina gathers the ball. Good kick right down between the posts, and the tackle comes in from Gary Larson. The last time these two teams met at Caltex Field, Cronulla beat Norths 20-6. Of course, that was last year. Here's Dan Staines, who's been battling a virus. In fact, that virus first hit him 5 weeks ago and only just starting to get back to full strength. David Hatch in a dummy half. Luke Massey taking the ball forward. They haven't made all that much ground. Still inside their 22, and it's the 5th tackle. There's Andrew Eddinghausen. He will have the long kicking duties. Has to come across from the centres. The ball spilled by John MacArthur, and the referee plays the knock-on. Bad start for MacArthur.
Well, we have a look here, the kicking roll by Eddinghausen. It's a long punt. A very difficult one, landing very hard, just popping out. I think the referee ruled rightly there. So it's a good start for Cronulla.
MacArthur just slightly misjudging it, found it a little high on his chest. It seemed to carry on a little further than he expected with that wind, and he wasn't side on. Here's Spina on the blind. Out it goes to Corkery. Corkery just 10 metres out. Chance early now for Cronulla. Plenty of tackles up their sleeve. The ball has been knocked down. Wilson's pass. It's 6 more tackles. A North Sydney hand on the ball. Spina, Russell, they're deep, out to McGaw. Florimo moved up very quickly and managed to get hold of him, and now McGowan collars him. They lost ground, 25 metres out. Russell, Spina, Eddinghausen, pushes away from Toole, gets it out to his winger Corkery. Inside Larson, but he hangs on, now he goes again. 20 metres out. Cronulla throwing it wide early here. Here's Diamond. That's a good tackle. Les Kiss it was, the winger, in to make the tackle on the forward. Taking it forward, Danny Lee. 15 metres out. In fact, less than that. Russell guts it across the ruck. Slips a ball. And that's the last tackle. It was Diamond taking the pass, going straight forward. That's a handover.
Good defence there by North. Cronulla electing to run the football in the last tackle.
Some big scores in the early games. Cronulla winning the under-21s 46-10. And in reserve grade, Norths defeating Cronulla 28 points to 4. And Scott Wilson, the former South Sydney player, did make his appearance in the second half for Norths.
John, we saw North 3 weeks ago against St George. One would hope that they're going to move the ball a little bit wider today.
Yes, Arthur. I think both teams have been inconsistent in recent weeks. Cronulla I've watched closely over the last few weeks, and they'll be looking for improvement also. But if Kelly can keep them apart today, we should see an entertaining game.
North's coming up with an extra 6 tackles. Russell charged down Martin's kick. The referee said he played at the ball, and 6 more tackles for Norths. Here's Gavin Jones. Played State of Origin football in 1986.
Very unfortunate not to make the Kangaroo Tour. He sustained a broken leg prior to the tour being picked, and one would hope that he'd appreciate the jump up in class today.
He's found it difficult to get into first grade and stay there. There's the kick from Martin. Docking. Good step away from the first tackle.
And Warren, that's excellent pressure from Cronulla on the kicker Martin from North. Let's hope that North do the same thing with ET, because here's Davidson making a run.
Great run from Davidson. McGall cutting down the touchline. In he goes. Got away from Martin in cover, but the rest of them coming across picked him up. 25 metres out. Quick play the ball. Hatch, Spina, Russell looking wide. Out there is Staines trying to straighten it up. Dan Staines, the front rower in centre field.
We have a look at back leg, Craig Diamond down.
Now it's Docking up in the line. Eddinghausen pushes away from one tackle. He's still going. The first man in was Kelly Egan. Eddinghausen shrugged him off. There's Craig Diamond down. Massey loses it back. In fact, it was Danny Lee. On it goes to Spina. Now it's with Docking. Staines out to Corkery. And McGowan grabs him from behind. Down on the 22. It's the 5th tackle. Cronulla, if they put it high, won't want to put it too deep with the breeze. There it is from Eddinghausen. In fact, it's not carrying all that far. And straight down into the arms of Florimo. Johnny Pidd might have been right. Maybe the breeze isn't quite as strong as it appears from up here. Certainly the flags are catching the high breeze quite strongly.
Now, both sides seem to be getting a little benefit at times, Warren. It's moving around the wind.
So Cronulla up inside the 5, and the penalty goes to Norths.
Yeah, they're just encroaching the 5 there. Well,
they were back with the referee.
Yes.
And
we have a look. The only one he's pinched there is someone coming back the 5. So I think he was a little bit...
been a little bit harsh because the ball had been played before it seemed that most of them started to move. Also, the referee was only an accurate 5 metres back that time, not the 10 we sometimes see.
Getting back to the bomb there, it was a great take by Greg Florimo.
Here's North inside Cronulla territory, midway between the quarter and halfway with Martin. Gavin Jones, one off the ruck. Plenty of size about Jones. Long pass out to Florimo. Pops a little kick through. Russell got back to gather it. We're already seeing a good battle between the 5/8. Russell and Florimo. Craig Diamond charges forward. He's been playing very well lately. The points in attack scored by both teams this season. Cronulla doing the better. And against, in defence, again, Cronulla doing the better. So that gives an indication of why they're doing a little better on the competition ladder as well. But an interesting statistic when you look at the tries, Cronulla have scored 40 tries and North have scored 41, so North has done one better when it comes to actually getting the ball over the line. A chase for MacArthur. Cross towards his goalposts. A line of chase is coming through on him. Can't link up with his winger, David Hall.
And that was a huge kick by Eddinghausen there. He took advantage of the breeze, but unfortunately it wasn't a good... there was no pressure from North at all. Eddinghausen has kicked the last 3 shots down the field. There's been no pressure from North.
No, and Arthur, he's standing 15 metres behind the play of the ball, so he's pretty hard to get at. So he's a fair kicker of the ball too to get it down there, and just shows you the extent of this wind at times.
A few missed tackles early in the game from North, contributing to their error count. Here's MacArthur's kick, holding up in the wind, and he didn't really kick it all that solidly off the boot. It went across field and seemed to slide off the edge of his left boot.
I saw that McGowan play in reserve grade 3 weeks ago against St George. He's a very elusive runner with the football, but I've also been impressed with his defence for an Englishman. Comes from Bradford Northern.
Just inside North's half. Danny Lee leads with his shoulder, trying to bust through the line. But the defence is good. Jarvis in there, also Moore. Russell out to McGaw. Florimo's diving tackle, gets it away to Docking. Docking in both spaces, going all the way himself. But good cover there from Jason Martin. He is a great defender, whether it be in the front line or the cover line. Eddinghausen hoists it across field. McPhail underneath it with Egan. It's loose and it's a Cronulla ball. The referee says it went forward off a Cronulla hand and a let off there.
Yeah, if you have a look here in replay, you'll see Luke Massey goes to the ball and pops the ball forward. The bomb was put up, a very high bomb. But you have a look at Luke Massey, number 9, going up. The ball coming off his hand going forward.
There's Gavin Miller sitting on the sidelines, watching intently. Gavin Jones driven towards touch by Eddinghausen, but there's a fair lump to carry over that touchline. Pat Jarvis runs hard and straight, the only way he knows. Docking well positioned for the kick. Play swinging between the quarter lines. Neither side has had many opportunities inside the opposition 22.
Bad mistake there by Pappas, putting the ball down on the first tackle.
I guess when you're a replacement, sitting on the bench like Arthur Pappas, a fresh reserve, it's hard to build yourself up for a game. He's been thrown into this game, and it's his job to try and concentrate.
Well,
catching the first ball has got to be a priority.
He hasn't had much of a chance to warm up, has he, John?
No.
North's ball, Florimo gets it away to MacArthur. Russell seems to have recovered okay, making the tackle. Kiss gets a good tackle from Wilson. Drove him backwards to the quarter line. Toole. Slow play the ball. Moore burst straight through on the blind side. Sheer pace from Billy Moore. He came from nowhere, just exploded into the gap. That try should not have been on. The defence seemed to be set. Moore hit it on the burst and just flew through the opening. To play the ball 13 metres in from touch, there's a decoy runner, drew a couple of crabs inside, but Moore, flying on the angle, just cut straight through. Look at the salute, why not? That's a solo effort.
We have a look here. Gary Larson comes as the decoy, but he just steps around Mark McGaw, indicating that Mark McGaw might have a problem with his shoulder. Saluting to the crowd. Good try, but very poor defence here by Mark McGaw. If you have a look, it's on his left side. That would indicate that Mark McGaw has a left shoulder. It is pretty bad.
Billy Moore, 6th try of the year for the lock forward. 18 years of age, his 2nd year as a science student at Sydney Uni. What a great try it was. MacArthur with the conversion attempt, swinging back to the right of the uprights. So North Sydney lead Cronulla 4 points to 0.
Yeah, well, here's Gary Larson coming across the back of the ruck, creates a diversion. McGaw is injured, there's no doubt about that, because his forte is that sort of defence.
Alan Wilson to restart play. Cronulla have had probably the best of the attacking opportunities, but not on the scoreboard now. This is a deep kick, and Moore can't get a hand on it, and can't, more importantly, control the ball, and so it'll be a dropout from between the posts.
Once again, John, this is why coaches end up with grey hair or no hair at all. Have a look at this.
Or in mental institutions, Arthur.
Billy Moore may not have adjusted for the wind, because the wind is blowing into that corner, and he certainly misjudged the length. It went right over his head. He couldn't get back. Florimo with a wobbly drop kick. Only goes 25 forward. McGaw determined to make up for his error. Gets it out to Eddinghausen.
He might have had his mind the job. He might have been still thinking about that try.
Here's Danny Lee, straight ahead, running off Barry Russell. Just 13 metres out. Arthur Pappas runs into Kelly Egan. Also McPhail. Staines tries to straighten it up once more. Cronulla in a good attacking position here, 10 metres out. Massey. It's the last tackle. What will they do? Spina wants it. Russell. The cutout pass, or the indecisive pass in the end. Davidson, knowing it's the last tackle, kicks it through. MacArthur forced to take it. Man on man with Johnny Davidson, and Davidson makes the tackle.
Well, that's the voice of experience there. Johnny Davidson, last tackle, no other options, and just puts the grubber in behind the line and chases his own kick. Have a look here, and he keeps John MacArthur in the in-goal area, forcing a line dropout.
In-goal areas here at North Sydney aren't all that deep. MacArthur would have been hoping that would roll dead. Florimo, a slightly better kick this time, makes it to halfway line. Docking. Pappas hits it up. Danny Lee slips a good ball away, this time to Massey, who tries to twist out of the tackle, but Florimo hangs onto him. Midway between the quarter and halfway. Spina, dummying. Finally taken by Gary Larson.
They're changing roles, Russell and Spina, John.
Yes, mixing up a little bit. Second off the ruck. Laurie's very dangerous, as is Barry, just around that fringe of the ruck area. Norse have got an advantage in the weight of the packs in the forwards. There's no doubt about that. Danny Lee's probably the biggest Cronulla forward, and he's causing some problems out there. He's coming back to form, Danny Lee.
So, John, they lose a little weight with Arthur Pappas coming in for Craig Diamond. Might just pull that weight advantage in a bit.
Oh, no, Norse will definitely outweigh them, Warren. I think the meters game show that. Norse are running one out at times and making fairly good yardage around the rucks, where Cronulla are prepared to use the ball.
Here's David Hall. MacArthur. Now Steve McGowan. Signed earlier in the season, but after the season had begun by North Sydney. Here's Jarvis, can't break through the defence, lobs the ball back. McGowan forced to pick up the crumbs. Martin for the kick. Kicks just away from the centre of the field, bouncing out towards Davidson. Here's Corkery across from the far wing to help out the forwards.
We have a look at the defence there. The hitmen of their respective packs. Pat Jarvis leading the Norse pack with 11 hits, and Danny Stade leading Cronulla with 12 hits.
Here's Staines. Makes it to the halfway line. Wilson. Cronulla just a little pedestrian at the moment. Maybe they'll conjure up some play here. Spina. Russell. McGaw. McGaw launches himself. Back to Eddinghausen. Quick kick ahead. But there's defence back there, and MacArthur covers it well. And Les Kiss was also across. So he'd read the play pretty well. But slick hands there from Cronulla. Good understanding between McGaw and Eddinghausen. Very quick reflexes from Eddinghausen to put the kick in.
It was certainly a good pass from McGaw back into Eddinghausen there.
Reminiscent of Cliff Lyons to Michael O'Connell last week.
Exactly.
Toole.
They don't move the ball much one off the ruck, do they, John, North Sydney?
No, I think they're trying to limit their mistakes and kick well, Arthur, and try and get field position. But most of the plays has been around the halfway line.
Well, they are making a good miss of that kicking into the breeze. Florimo was keeping the ball low, but have a look at that kick from MacArthur there. That was a good kick considering it was into the wind.
The metres gained, 583 versus 546, so slight advantage to Norths. But Cronulla have had the ball for 4 minutes more out of this period so far. We've had 25 minutes of play, so that's a significant advantage to Cronulla with the ball in their hands, but they haven't been able to turn it into territorial advantage. Danny Lee in a dummy half. Eddinghausen under some pressure, but it's out on the full. He wasn't under that much pressure. Oh, it was touched. It was touched in flight, even though the ball went out on the full. The advantage will go to Cronulla.
Well, we have a look here. There's pressure here from Larson. Good pressure, but from Pat Jarvis and Larson. But the ball was deemed touched in flight, so...
Let's see if it was touched.
Touched by McPhail.
Eddinghausen seemed immediately concerned that the ball hadn't been touched, because you could see his reaction, realising the ball was going out on the full. Back inside to Eddinghausen. Russell. Docking. Taken by MacArthur.
A bit unfortunate there. If he gives the ball to McGaw, we could have seen something happen there.
Docking. Wilson. McGaw flicks it out the back to Docking. He's taken by Jarvis. Pounced on by Pat Jarvis. Luke Massey. Nothing a big forward likes to do more than grab hold of a little player.
Well, it happens a couple of times in the match. Unfortunately, Jason Martin runs in that area too often, I think.
Massey, quick hands from Hatch. It's the last tackle, 15 metres out, right in front. Eddinghausen, a kick from McGaw, who runs into Pat Jarvis and took a dive. And it goes dead in goal. So it'll come back to the 22. McGaw getting slowly back to his feet, but he dead set ran straight into the back of Pat Jarvis.
Yeah, we have a look here, putting the rubber in. Goes too deep. It just rolls over the dead ball line.
Good chasing from Cronulla. Alan Wilson down there. Here's Kiss. There's Kiss, another like Gavin Jones, who played Origin football and then, of course, for Australia and battled to get back to full fitness after leg injuries. Jarvis, good ball for Toole. Jarvis was flattened after he got the ball away by McGaw, and Jarvis is still down on his back. I don't know whether or not it was late. Jarvis is hurt.
He hasn't moved, so looks like he's out there sunbaking.
Wilson. Russell, a little darting run. Pat Jarvis, knocked out. Doesn't know where he is. They're asking him, who are you playing? Where are you at? The answer's Disneyland. North have come up with the ball. Martin.
He takes a big risk, John. Young Jason Martin taking the forwards on all the time. I'd rather see that job left to the forwards.
Yeah, he's their playmaker, Arthur. So far he's taken most of the right option. He is their kicker also, but I'd like to see him working the forwards off him.
Pat Jarvis is back on his feet, still a little wobbly. The role of the halfbacks these days has changed somewhat, hasn't it? You look at people like Alan Langer, they get through an awful lot of defence these days.
They get through a lot of defence, but in this situation, Jason Martin just taking the forwards on too much. Tony Kelly ruling against the Cronulla players there, hooking one of the tackle players up.
Laurie Spina conceding the penalty.
Johnny Davis, yeah. John Davidson and Laurie Spina in there. He's ruled that Johnny Davis has hooked his leg up, a trip, Phil Moach.
I think he milked that one too. What would you expect from a Queenslander?
No, don't be like that, John. You're a Queenslander too, if I remember.
Before the war.
Well, bad mistake here from McPhail. He's lost the ball. Just 2 minutes remaining till half-time. North's had another 4 tackles to go, in a good position to attack. Spina puts it in. Goes himself. And still going. One thing we saw a lot of in last night's game was players trying to steal the ball from each other. And to me, it upset the rhythm of the game completely. Players were more intent on trying to hang on to the ball than doing anything useful with it. I think the rugby league's got to look at some of the rules. Here's Pat Jarvis coming up with a spilled ball from Cronulla.
Danny Stone's coughing the ball up there. Whilst Andrew Eddinghausen and McGaw might be doing plenty in defence, I'm a little bit disappointed that they're not supporting a bit more in attack, John.
Yes, that's for sure, Arthur. I think that what they've got to try and do, Cronulla, is probably try and get some points on the board. There's only a minute or so left. It's going to be difficult, but in previous weeks they have run into the wind in the second half and performed well, so they'll have to do it again today.
The penalty went to North Sydney. McGaw was disputing possession with Kiss. Now here's a chance for North. Fine kick for touch is taken 20 metres out. Jones. 30 seconds left on the clock till half-time. Martin changes direction. McPhail, Moore, McGowan, taken by Eddinghausen. Centre on centre, man on man. Kiss puts the kick in. A chase here for Docking. Back he goes, covers it up well.
It was a good move down the blind side there, John. They had the numbers, but unfortunately Les Kiss went to sleep. If it had been alongside Gowan, a good little grubber here by Les Kiss.
Yeah, rehearsed move, that one.
Have a look there, Docking, just making sure, pressing the ball dead.
Both teams battling away at each other. It hasn't been too flash, but they'll need to pick up the effort. North's leading 4-0 at half-time. The solo effort of Billy Moore, the only score on the board at half-time. Let's have a look at the statistics. The scrums have gone to Cronulla, 4-2, no tied heads. The penalties have gone to the Bears, 4-2. The error count, too many by North, mainly missed tackles out wide. And the overall tackle count, well, North have had to get through a lot of defence, 135 against 97 tackles for Cronulla. The meterage gained by both teams in the first 40 minutes, 824 metres to North's, 867 to Cronulla. And time in possession, North's 14 minutes, but Cronulla have had the ball for 25 minutes. They've dominated the ball in possession, but they haven't been able to turn it into advantage when it comes to territory. North will have the wind in the second half, but both teams will be looking up to pick up the variety in attack. Wilson gets the second half underway. Gathered down there by Moore. He's a big fella and a long strider. Has a good-looking build for a lock forward, doesn't he, Arthur?
Well, he's certainly, he's only a kid. He's only 19-year-old. He's got a big future in front of him.
He's Tool. Johnny Pidd, what did the coaches have to say?
Well, Coach Martin in the North Sydney room, Warren, he wants them to concentrate on control and kick chase. He realises they've worked up or used quite a bit of fuel. And in the other room, Fitzgibbons, he wants them to pull out a little bit extra character because he knows they've had a fair bit of possession and they've just got to lift themselves individually.
Here's Docking, bringing the ball back a good 30 metres.
Also, Warren, a change. Norths have got Boasted on the wing instead of Les Kiss.
Les Kiss had both legs strapped in the first half, but I didn't see him actually get injured. Remember, right on half-time, he put the little kick through and chased it towards the dead ball line. There's Kerry Boasted.
Hamstring injury for Kiss.
It was a hammy. Spina. Russell standing outside him. McGaw to Eddinghausen. Eddinghausen coasting along. Now he claps on the speed and goes straight past McGowan. Eddinghausen could go all the way. MacArthur comes across at him. Eddinghausen for the line and he scores. Great solo effort from Andrew Eddinghausen. He got that ball on the halfway line. He coasted around once he received the ball off McGaw. Once he turned on the pace, he cut straight through from a defence that was caught asleep. That's the halfway line. The ball back from McGaw. One missed tackle. Now Eddinghausen is only going half pace here. He sees the opening and shoots for it. Straight inside McGowan. And the cover defence coming across. Martin and MacArthur simply couldn't get to him.
As a coach, if you said this was a set piece, they'd say you had rocks in your head. McGaw offloads the ball, he cuts back. North's making the mistake of not moving up both sides of the ruck. He cuts back in beside Jarvis and McGowan there and wins the race to the line. But they would say that you had rocks in your head as a coach. You said this was a set piece.
He has that tremendous speed, Andrew Eddinghausen. Of course, he played fullback for New South Wales. And I guess he's wondering exactly where his representative future lies. Matthew Corkery. His first shot at goal for the day. It's a very difficult one. What a kick. What a kick from Corkery. 6 points to 4, the Sharks hit the lead.
Yeah, let's look at this one again. Out the back line, there's nothing on really. McGaw's confined in space. He just picks E.T. up, he pushes off Gavin Jones. Left side defence didn't move up. E.T. accelerates. What a majestic sight this fella is when he gets into full cry. And he goes over and scores a great charge. He's a good player this year.
The collection of Andrew Eddinghausen's tries for the year makes spectacular viewing.
Great kick there by Corkery, wasn't it? It was reminiscent of Matthew Ridge.
It's interesting too that Alan Wilson has kicked many times for Cronulla, but they've chosen for the winger Corcoran to kick. So he has been consistent in recent weeks.
And And in his days at Canberra, Corker, he didn't do all that much kicking. I suppose there were some pretty good kickers around in front of him.
Just saw an enormous hit there by Larson. Tremendous hit.
Staines tries to duck under the first tackle. I wonder he wears headgear. He leads with his head. Lee. Try in the second minute of the second half. It's the 5th tackle as it goes back to Eddinghausen.
Good chase there by Florima, trying to put a bit of pressure on Eddinghausen.
Kerry Bowstead wrapped up by Russell.
When you're missing both Speechley and Miller, the kicking duties fall down to ET, and it's not hard to pick who's going to kick. And North, about time they put some pressure on the kicker.
Here's McGowan.
Strange enough, they don't have a sweeper. Cronulla, you'd expect that Russell or Spina to drop back as a sweeper role, but there's a lot of yardage in between the first line of defence and the fullback, John.
Yes, there is. Occasionally Spina gets back, Arthur, but there is plenty of room for an observant halfback, and Jason Martin's the boy there that could pick that.
That ball bouncing dead. It went on and on and on. Remember one in the first half which stopped in the in-goal area when it looked as if it might go dead in goal, but this time the ball pleases Jonathan Docking. And they come back to the 22 for a tap. It's an interesting point talking about Andrew Eddinghausen having to do the kicking in general play when your centre is your main kicker. It means that on that 4th, 5th, 6th tackle, your centre has to come into the centre of the field or into the ruck, and you don't have the attack out wide, or don't quite have that same power out wide.
Well, that's correct. He leaves himself an easy mark also. So the opposition should be reading it better than that they are.
Also, Warren, he'd be an excellent kick chaser too, ET, with his pace and with his defence.
You can put them all on side pretty quickly, can't it?
Surprised they haven't used Wilson in that area, John.
Yeah, that's an alternative. Here's ET again. Harassed a little bit by Pat Jarvis, but still gets a good one away.
MacArthur gathers it in. Good run from MacArthur.
We have a look here. The top defensive players for both sides are Pat Jarvis with 24 and Dan Staines leading the tackle count for Cronulla with 20.
Kerry Bowstead has a darting run on the blind side. North's trying to turn this defence around by hitting him at the advantage line, running from dummy half. They realise the urgency. Back it goes for Martin. Kick off the side of his boot, but it will find touch. Johnny Davidson wasn't too concerned. He realised that they weren't going to make a lot of ground out of the kick, and they'll get the feed to the scrum.
He might have had a bit of sun. If you have a look here, one could think that maybe Davidson could have had a shot at this, but the sun maybe been in his eyes. It was pretty close to the touchline. Bit of yardage out there then.
Referee Kelly wants the ball in the scrum. Well, that was, I guess they want some weight. Here's Barry Russell. Barry Russell bursting away from the tackle. Still going is Russell. What a great run. 11 metres inside North Territory. Great run from the 5'8". Wilson now skirts wide. Tries to float a ball. It did come off Bowstead's hands. Corkery gathers it in. It's 6 more tackles to the Sharks.
Yeah, look at the Sharks. They're all very bunched. You'd think the ball comes back from Docking, but they're all...
Florimo intercepts. Florimo chased by Eddinghausen. Davidson coming across, and Florimo will go all the way. Florimo races 50 metres. We saw Eddinghausen show sheer speed to go. One direction a moment ago for a try. Florimo has intercepted a loose ball, and North hit the front. The Sharks, Arthur said they were bunched. The pass went behind Pappas. Florimo was moving up in defence. He ran straight onto the ball. Eddinghausen gave up the chase pretty early, realised that he couldn't catch Florimo, and Florimo left Davidson behind.
Well, this is what happens. A great break by Russell, but what happens? A mistake by Cronulla. Florimo comes up with a loose ball straight under the post. This changes the complexion of the game. If they'd have spread out, they could have been... we'll have a look again. Once Docking passed the ball, a poor pass to Pappas. Florimo picking up the crumbs, going straight to the... putting the throttle down and going straight under the post. Thank you very much. 6 points.
Elation for Greg Florimo. He was the youngest captain of North Sydney back in 1988. at the age of 20. MacArthur right in front and makes no mistake. And North skip away to a handy lead. They've re-established their lead with the wind. Greg Florimo, the man, North's leading Cronulla 10-6.
Well, here's Cronulla and Arthur indicate they were a bit bunched. Docking first off the ruck, throws a bad pass to Paphos, hit him on the shoulder. Florimo on the spot, and he careers away for a try that certainly gives North Sydney some confidence.
Good strong running there from Greg Florimo, looking over his left and right shoulder to make sure there was no one coming, and he realised he was going to get there. And was he happy? Yes, he certainly was. Cronulla were all on the attack, docking up, no one in the second line. They thought they had the ball and they were going to continue to use it.
That was a sad situation there. Gruss had made a great break. They didn't capitalise on it. They had a spread. And unfortunately, Docking was first receiver, and he's been creeping up into that first receiver role, John.
Yeah, it's an old halfback at Junior League, Arthur, and he does try to get in there. They've got 3 little men around that area. They probably should spread out a little more.
We've had 3 strange tries. Moore scored a try out of nowhere when the defence was lacking from McGaw when he appeared to have him marked. Then we've seen Eddinghausen capitalise when North didn't move up on the inside and relaxed.
John, you'd think that Cronulla would turn around and put some pressure on North's kicking game, wouldn't you? Because they've kicked probably the last 10 or 12 times on the third tackle.
Yeah, well, that was the instructions at half-time, Arthur, and it's probably a good idea, although they've used up a lot of petrol, North, but they're game and they're enthusiastic, and when you've got that going for you, you're halfway home.
There's a changeover of possession here. Cronulla conceded, and the Bears come up with the ball through Gary Larson now, right on the halfway. Toole, pass went forward to him, only just, was right in front of us.
It's a tough penalty. Have a look here. There, you got the line there. Yes, it's just, well, it's a line ball.
Exactly.
You'll make your own decision on that. It's already been made, but we're not going to change it.
Cronulla ball, Russell dancing away from one, but Moore got out of the scrum well to get him. Just wondering that decision regarding the forward pass. Obviously the line was there to help judge it, but you often find playing at North Sydney Oval that the touchlines run in strange directions compared to the grandstands, and I wonder if just as the players do, the referee may have been slightly disoriented. You tend to get lost in the middle of North Sydney Oval as knowing where the touchlines are. Here's Docking. Docking cuts through. Inside is Massey. The defence was across to wrap him up. MacArthur got him. Spina. Russell. Long passes to McGaw. McGaw shapes inside and he loses the ball. Hits in a strong tackle as he was trying to stand. The ball was always in jeopardy because it was high above his head.
We have a look here. McGaw trying to get his hands over the top, but hitting a strong tackle by McPhail.
I wonder if McGaw's looking for Eddinghausen on the inside. He's been there most of the time today.
Well, he's such a tall bloke. He does like to get his arms over the top, Mark McGaw, but in that situation there, the ball was jotted loose.
It's clearly been a tactic from the Cronulla backs for McGaw to go to the line and try and slip an inside ball to Eddinghausen.
We have a look here. Ian French warming up on the sideline. He's coming on to replace one of the North forwards, I'd presume.
There's Ian French, keen to get on the field. The penalty has gone to North Sydney against Cronulla, raking the ball out in the tackle.
Billy Moore coming off. Have a look here. Jason Martin.
Martin tackled by Laurie Spina. The tackle affected. Well, it looked as if Martin may have lost the ball. It could have been a little hand in there.
There was a hand in there, I think.
Billy Moore is off the field. It's bad luck for North because he's played strongly. Here's Ian French, straight into the action. French has been a regular first grader this season, relegated to the bench just a couple of weeks ago when North decided to make changes to their backline. Here's McPhail, Martin.
It's not a bad move, that one, John. They had numbers there once again, but Jason Martin electing to cut back in.
Yeah, they're relying. if Cronulla has an Achilles heel, it's not moving up on a short blind, and they've tried to capitalise on that a couple of times.
Gavin Jones, the Burley foe, runs at the line, but they hold him 10 metres out. It's the fifth tackle. Martin puts the bomb up. Doesn't go very far forward. They allow it to bounce and gathered in by Wilson. Why did Docking go for that ball?
It was a dangerous practice. We saw that happen last night with Gene Miles picking up the crumbs.
Jason Elton last night hesitated, going under the ball once or twice. Eddinghausen leaves it behind and it goes over the touchline. Fullback's got to commit himself to the ball on those bombs. Here's the Sharks throwing it wide.
We have a look here. It was an easy pass. Just didn't turn his trunk to the ball. Andrew Eddinghausen. The ball was drifting over the touchline.
North Sydney will feed the scrum. Another chance to put the screws on the Sharks. Out it goes to Toole, standing off the scrum there.
That was an interesting ploy, wasn't it?
Yes, the big front rower standing at 5'8".
John, that was shades of 75. When I was standing out as a 5'8", we never won the scrum.
Took you 10 minutes to get back there too.
Thanks, John.
Now Adrian Toole running at Barry Russell. If he had support off him, could have been very dangerous for the Sharks. Good thought by Steve Martin anyway.
I bet the halfback didn't run around you.
No, in those days you didn't have the head and the feet. They missed my weight in the scrum.
Here's Toole, should be a great ball away to Ian French. French, only on the field for a couple of minutes, has scored what could be a very important try. We're 15 minutes into the second half and North leads 14 points to 6. Good ball, slipped away by Adrian Toole, the man we were just discussing, playing at 5'8". He got it off Martin, stood and delivered. Ian French on his shoulder, bursting through.
If we have a look here, Martin looks like he's hanging the ball. Could have been a shade forward, we don't know, but great backing up by Ian French there. You have to give the coach a rap here. He's just brought Ian French into the fray. Everyone sort of held off Toole there, thinking that he wouldn't get the ball, but he delayed the pass. A great delay pass there from Jason Martin.
Elation amongst the Bears. Plenty of smiles there. Ian French, formerly a winner Manly in Queensland, been with the Bears now for a few seasons, since '87 in fact. And the extras added. North now have a very handy lead, 16 points to 6.
Well, this is a ploy by North. They're using big men just on the fringe of the ruck, running at Cronulla's little men, and there's two involved, Spina and Russell beaten there, and Ian French is good enough to back up. A good pass by Adrian Toole.
You didn't think that pass from Toole to French was forward? I beg your pardon, not from Toole, it was from Jason Martin
to Toole. It was a very short pass, wasn't it? Yeah, well, it didn't occur to me at the time. Sometimes the camera angles can be a little deceptive. Here's Ian French now. Gee, he's keen, Ian French. He's been in everything. Steve McGowan forced into the open space. Eddinghausen chases. Docking has to make the tackle. No, he can't get him. North and Davidson. McGowan has supported Martin. Martin away from Docking. And he slips the pass away. And Kelly Egan will score the try. North have gone from one end of the field to the other. Egan finishes off a great burst. And that should be the nail in the coffin. 20 points to 6. There's still 20 minutes to go, but they were inside their quarter. Ian French was the man. What a performance he's had. 5 minutes on the field. He's already made 3 strong runs, 2 breaks. McGowan goes downfield, changes direction here. He got away from Davidson, who was a little tangled up with Docking, straightened it up, floated the pass, may have floated a little forward there out to Martin, and Kelly Egan had backed up to finish off the move, and that's a great North Sydney try.
Who said Norths have no imagination? If you have a look here, he steps off his left, beats a tackle there, support from McGowan, cuts back in, poor tackle by Eddinghausen there. Eddinghausen has 2 shots in here, if you have a look. Cuts away from him, goes into Docking, Docking misses him, missed by Davidson, keeps going, support play here coming up from Jason Martin. He takes out Docking here, and a good pass there to Kelly Egan. A great try by North Sydney. You won't see him any better than that.
Kelly Egan, another student teacher, 22 years of age, was a State of Origin shadow this year. MacArthur adds the extras. It comes off the upright, but another very valuable 2 points. Johnny MacArthur did the job. North 22, Cronulla 6.
Here's Ian French using his size and his footwork. Slips the ball to McGowan. He should have been wrapped up there. Bad defence by E.T. E.T. produces a chase game there. He's got to. He's made an error. Docking's involved. Davo misses one. This English centre from Bradford Northern flicking players left and right. Now he flicks a pass out to Jason Martin and out to Kelly Egan. Good support play. Norths are really on top.
Jarvis, Larson, wrapped up by McGaw. Back to Martin for the kick. He's under pressure from Croker. Docking gathers. Davidson is across. Davidson and Eddinghausen were there. If Davidson could have got the pass away, it could have been danger. Norths are using this win fairly effectively. Martin, not a long kicker of the ball, but he's placing the kicks pretty well and picking up the 40 metres each time. Russell. Wilson loses it. It's funny how when you're under pressure and you're down on the scoreboard, mistakes like that happen.
They seem to be going right there. Good pressure once again. Great pressure from Florimo once again there. Mark
McGaw being spoken to. I think he had a few words to say regarding whether that was a knock-on or not.
Warren, he was complaining about a tackle by McGowan on him.
That's what it was.
Off the ball.
Scrum with the North. Plenty of talk out there on the field. Florimo takes the tackle. 25 metres out. Toole runs straight and hard. Almost burst through the tackle. He headed straight at little Barry Russell. Almost bust through his tackle. Ian French takes the tackle.
North Sydney prepared to give the ball a little bit more air now.
Here's McGowan, who's growing in confidence all the time. It's the 5th tackle. Martin tries the field goal. It slides to the left.
Shades of Tommy Bishop there.
11 minutes remaining on the clock. The metres gained now. North 1,476, Cronulla 1,194. 32 minutes versus 36 minutes the possession, time in possession.
Oh, it's all quality time for North.
North have turned their game around, Arthur. A couple of weeks ago, they were relying on a bomb. Now that they've hit the front, they're showing that they can play football up there with the best of them. Well, not quite, but Canberra and the Broncos are generally considered to be the best attacking side, but North are doing a little bit with the ball in the second half.
Oh, I take my hat off to them. They have shown us something. Once they hit the front, they can spread the ball.
Kelly Egan read that chip through by Russell with ease. He turned around and was already heading backwards. He was able to predict it. Bowstead gets it on to Martin. Cronulla are just hanging on at the moment. North are unloading passes. They're leading 22-6. Larson. If anyone's going to score a try, it looks like it's going to be the Bears.
He's worked hard, Gary Larson.
French has to wait for it. Now he goes ahead. And it's gone forward in the air, and Cronulla come up with the ball. Ian French almost worked his hands free. It would have been a very neat little pass.
Now, everyone held off him there, thinking he was going to put the grubber through, but he did. Something I'd like to see young Jason Martin do, hold the ball more out in front of him when he's carting the ball in traffic. Gives him another option, but at the moment he's easy meat. He just wraps the ball up under his arm and takes the forwards on.
Yeah, you've summed him up pretty well, Arthur. He's a good player. He's got good awareness, but that would make it harder to detect what he wants to do with the ball. And he's got all the skills.
So Barry Russell leaving the field. Eddinghausen. Chris Quinn, number 40, is on the field for Barry Russell. McGowan. McGowan's not a strongly built centre three-quarter, but he's pretty keen. Bowstead. Martin. Out it goes to Toole, who heads back into the forwards. North Sydney had 5 wins in a row, then they hit a rocky patch. They lost to St George, they lost to Canberra, then they started to turn it around with a win against Canterbury last week, and they're on the way to another 2 points here. They've lost the ball here, though.
Yeah, Adrian Toole just copying up the ball there. If we have a look, Mark Soden replacing Jason Martin. A big hand for Jason Martin, deservedly so. A great effort by Jason Martin.
Tremendous work rate. Mark Soden also working hard. There's someone in that scrum who's got a good tongue on him.
Yes, they certainly do need a cake of soap out there, not just for under the armpits either.
There's someone in that scrum has not been too happy. I wonder if it's one of the hookers. Here's Docking. Docking goes straight through. Docking could go all the way. He's chased by Terry Bowstead, and Bowstead makes the tackle. Great chase from Bowie. Well, he has still got some pace. Docking's not slow. Here's Porter. Porter indecisive, finally slips it away. Quinn, long ball. Out there is Croker. He sends a pass on to McGaw. McGaw tries to go ahead now, but he's lost the ball. Hasn't been the happiest day for Mark McGaw.
Once again, Mark McGaw guilty of trying to get the hands free, but in that situation there, I think the referee should have given a penalty because Norse, Pat Jarvis especially, were a mile offside, and I think that... have a look here, McGaw just trying to get his arms free, the ball around the side. But good work by Adrian Toole there to lock the ball up.
It's catch-up football time for Cronulla, and McGaw trying to get a pass away. He knew there was still a half chance of a try. And Mark Soap fumbled the ball back into the in-goal area. So North will drop out. Florimo's kick, a good strong one. That came off Docking's hand. The referee's a long way away, but he saw it. Just touched Docking's hand. The ball bounced at an unexpected angle. Just off his fingertips there, and it went forward. So it's not the Sharks' day. Cronulla will start to think that they need Gavin Miller and Michael Speechley as Pat Jarvis leaves the field.
Well, he's played a great captain's knock, hasn't he?
Topped the tackle count for North with 32. Hasn't Docking played well in a losing side?
He certainly has. He's made some great breaks up the middle there. Once again, we just saw the little ploy, the slip pass to Ian French, and it nearly came off. The old chestnut, the halfback slips the ball to the lock forward.
We've got another replacement on the field. That's Gary Smith. Florimo. McGowan has support. The ball floated forward to David Hall. Hall racing away for a try, but the referee, Tony Kelly, right on the spot that time. But it's all North.
Well,
they're busting them at will.
Here. A great pass, great support play. It might happen in England, McGowan and Steve, but they don't allow them to happen here. And it's clearly floating forward.
But it's all North at the moment. Cronulla's defence is like a sieve. You don't get to see Cronulla cracking in defence like this very often. It's 22-6. They're just holding on. There's near tries being scored by the Bears.
Well, there are indications here that North could go even further ahead.
Corkery. Massey tries to take them on.
Well, one would think the boss would be happy today, David Hill.
Yes, here at North Sydney Oval, and the Bears are on their way to a win. And a reasonable crowd in at North Sydney Oval.
Well, the band has had plenty to play today, hasn't it? They've been playing a fine tune.
Cronulla trying to move the ball around. Down on the sideline, Pat Jarvis is with Johnny Peard.
Well, Pat, pretty quiet first half for North, although you went in front 4-0, but you've come to life the second half. A good performance?
Very, very good performance because we were under a lot of pressure in the first half. Partly through some of our own mistakes, but also Cronulla were playing very well. They controlled in the game, and Our defence held up, so well done to our guys.
Against the wind in the first half, are they the tactics just to sort of hang in there and then perhaps release a few plays in the second half? It looked like that anyway.
Well, we had no choice, did we? They won the toss.
Yeah, and they had a fair bit of ball, didn't they?
Yeah.
Just a couple of minutes remaining.
What Cronulla can do now is salvage a little bit of pride. Hope they put a couple of points on the board. It's been all one-way traffic the second half.
And there's Wilson putting in a kick. We thought we'd see more of Alan Wilson's kicking game, but it's been left to Eddinghausen, and it did become a little stereotype. There's a good kick from Alan Wilson.
Warren, I've been watching Cronulla in recent weeks. You know, it doesn't surprise me all that much today. They've just been hanging in. Every team goes through a valley during the year. I think Norths are coming out of their valley, but Cronulla have been unimpressive, really, although they've been scraping home in quite a few wins.
Yeah, good point, John. When you look at their record, they lost 10-8 to Newcastle at Cronulla. Here's Soden. Soden screens straight through, but good tackle manages to get hold of him. But then they beat Parramatta 14-8, and that was the day that Andrew Eddinghausen got the bounce when Sterling put the kick through, so they were lucky to win that match. If a draw might have been a fairer result.
Yeah,
and last week they scraped in against Wests.
And Diamond has a broken thumb. He could be out for 4 or 5 weeks, so Gavin Miller's still on the side and doesn't look too good for the Sharks.
Diamond has been one of their strongest forwards in the last couple of weeks. So they are in trouble.
We have a look here. Porter just ripping the ball, stripping the ball. So it'd be interesting to see who gets the feed in the head here. One would think that North should get the feed, but he's given it to Cronulla.
Cronulla inside their own quarter. Eddinghausen floats it out to Davidson. They left him free. There's David Hall. He was standing deep from that scrum. They've been anticipating the possible kick through for Eddinghausen. Cronulla have lost it. It's a North Sydney ball. Too many mistakes from Cronulla today.
Yeah, Luke Massey there just guilty of trying to keep the ball alive.
Florimo is trapped.
Good pressure there by Wilson.
The full-time siren sounds. The North Sydney fans. They've borne a lot over the last few years, but the Bears are giving them something to cheer about in 1990. And they've got a win over the Sharks here today at North Sydney Oval. A well-earned win. It was 4-0 at half-time. A good, strong second half, and they've won 22 points to 6. Once Norths got on top, they became confident and showed a lot more flair and imagination in attack, while Cronulla's defence fell away. It was 4 tries to 1, a convincing win to the Bears. Tries to Moore, Florimo, French and Egan. MacArthur kicked 3 from 4 for Cronulla. Eddinghausen a solitary try, and Corkery 1 from 1. Beatson's best went to the hard-working halfback Jason Martin for North Sydney. Norths have now moved equal with Cronulla on the ladder, and they could be in the 5 depending on today's other results. And, of course, talking about battling for the 5 next week, we'll be at Penrith Park for the match between Parramatta and Penrith. See you then.